morning, Shot Butters! Ow! 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 What did I say about shooting guys in the dick?
Welcome back, nerds. Fino here with a servant guide for Saber Larva. No? Lily? Alright, fine. Saber Lily. She's a 4-star Saber and a bit of a meme because she suffers from some lore-based kneecapping. I didn't do a guide the first time around, and a great number of people will be getting their first taste with the Saber Wars rerun. So let's take a closer look. Skill 1 is Intuition, a star dump and the poster child for early FGO design. It's a crap skill and the only upside is that it's something of a placeholder in recent years, giving hope for an upgrade. Skill 2 is Mana Burst, a single turn buster buff. Another generic skill but far more useful than Intuition. Skill 3 is Journey of the Flowers, which gives party-wide NP gain for 3 turns. Lily's Noble Phantasm is Caliburn, an AoE buster attack with a personal heal tied to overcharge. It has an upgrade that increases both its damage and healing. Caliburn is the real linchpin of Lily's kit and pretty much the only reason anyone cares about her, but we'll get into that a bit later. Lily has a bog standard kit that doesn't give me much to work with. Because of that, I'll be keeping my team building brief. Let's begin with a very basic 3-turn. One nuisance with fighting Lancer enemies is that they tend to lock you out of a rush. You've got a few alternatives including Ol Mosan. She doesn't have the combination of damage steroids like a standard blue Umu, but you generally don't need those to clear the first wave. If your second Saber has a low NP level, you commit them to the second wave. The reason for this is that Lily's Caliburn, with NP 5 in her upgrade, actually outdamages Gacha Sabers at NP 1. In other words, NP 5 Caliburn outperforms NP 1 Excalibur. Because of this, you'll want Saber Lily assigned to Wave 3 unless you've gotten some good pulls. Because she has a buster NP, Lily can't really abuse Journey of the Flowers. That and the effect magnitude is pretty mediocre. Someone who appreciates that sort of thing though is Nero Bride. She's a competent arts attacker with her own suite of powerful buffs, including NP gain. Some farming nodes pit you against a very stubborn boss in Wave 3, and in these situations you may need Bride to go in for a second round. By assigning Lily as your Wave 2 clear, she can give Nero that extra bit of support with NP gain, Intuition stars, and even stars from Caliburn. It's all very modest, but when you're working with Saber Lily, you gotta take what you can get. Craft essence wise, you'll want to go with starting charge, attack, NP damage, or some combination thereof. Kaleidoscope lets you skip manual charging, which is always nice. Golden Sumo gives an attack buff and helps Lily not be a total disgrace outside of her NP turns. Aside from these, go with a generic 50% CE like Dragon's Meridian, Holy Night Supper, or Aerial Drive. Saber Lily has a big, flashy, anti-Dick Noble Phantasm. It hits hard, I'll give it that. But once you look under the hood, things get very, very suspect. Despite being a 4-star servant, Lily has a crippled stat line that's well below what you'd expect from that rarity. For reference, her combined base attack and health is almost 4,000 below Siegfried's. That's atrocious and puts her more in contention with the 3 stars than anything else. So you might think of her as a 3-star with a good NP, and to a degree that's true. But consider this. She still has a 4-star's deployment cost. You're paying extra for the privilege of using this underpowered servant. When you're running a lot of event CEs or the big guns in your frontline, you're gonna see that number turn red. And when it does turn red, remember what Saber Lily did to you. Believe it or not, there was a time where you could only have Saber Lily at NP 1. She was a pre-registration reward and something of a newbie trap back then. This also adds a bit of a wrinkle in that, while you can fully ascend Lily long after the event ends, that's because she uses standard ascension materials. In other words, you might have a bit of farming to do, sort of a double-edged sword because of her proto-welfare status. Oh, fun fact, she recently got added to the JP server's Friend Point Gacha, so hypothetically you could still get her down the road. The catch is that she has rates closer to Angra Mainyus than your typical fare. Good luck with that. Overall, Saber Lily does function quite decently as a free AoE Saber. Her Noble Phantasm can fill gaps in farming teams and enable clean 3 turns against Lancer mobs. In this regard, she's pretty useful for mediocre accounts. However, this explosive power applies only to Caliburn. Brawling with Lily is a miserable experience, and despite them filling comparable roles, she almost feels like a reverse Fergus. He can at least beat things to death with a 3-beat deck, even though Khaled Ball hits like a wash cycle for your fine silks. Lily is hamstrung by her lore, making her a weaker Altria, meaning they didn't want to give her the same stat tier as Salter. Lily might be free, but they make you pay for it in other ways. But don't write her off completely. Caliburn still does a lot of damage. Just remember that you're getting screwed pretty hard in overall value. That's all I've got this time. If you enjoyed the video, maybe toss it a like, subscribe for more, and visit me on Twitch where I stream every weekend. 3 PM Pacific Time, Friday through Sunday. See you there.